Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you today. The next crypto purge. It may be coming. You need to see it. And here we have NASDAQ set to launch crypto custody, ladies and gentlemen. Could XRP be next? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, it's $1.17 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.1%. Careful what we call progress this morning. Good. Happy Sunday morning to everybody, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I know Mrs. Backup is a great mama, and I hope she has a wonderful day. We're going to make sure of it, in fact. Bitcoin 26,800 plus and 7.1. They're off on the 7-day. It's running flat in the 24-hour. 1803 and change for Ethereum. It's off by 5.4% on the 7-day. Tether market cap. Remember this number: 82.8 billion plus. Remember that? Hey, that's right. 82.8 billion plus. Remember that number. Very important. Just a moment. 42 cents per XRP. It's still off by 6.8% on the 7-day, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this. Tether holds 3.4 billion in gold reserves, but the market cap is 82.8 billion plus. Where's the rest of it? Asking for a friend. United States Congressional Budget Office has predicted that the U.S. government's annual deficits will nearly double over the next decade. Oh, but it gets better. I hope you have a strong stomach, because this legendary investor, Stanley Druckenmiller, if you're not familiar with him, is warning that it's closer to, if you were to account for what the government owes the future citizens of America, the U.S. is actually closer to $200 trillion in debt, nearly 7 times the official number. There's a point where the world realizes you're not able to pay it back, isn't it? This here from Jason Cousins from Glint, sharing the World Gold Council, with people increasingly realizing the ease at which banks can fail and the stock markets crash. What a great way to visualize gold. That's exactly right. As the dominoes fall, you can see gold stand strong. And that's why so many central banks are accumulating it at an alarming rate. And I know I'm trying to accumulate it as fast as I can too. I tell you, check out the link to Glint underneath the video. You will not be sorry that you did. It is a way for you to have your own banking system, certainly an alternative. It is a gold alternative to the banking system with Glint Pay and the MasterCard debit card directly to your physically allocated gold. You can spend anywhere they take MasterCard. Click the link. U.S. dollar supremacy remains unchanged as 187 countries don't want their own currency, says Chamath Palihapitiya, another huge investor, legendary investor here. And what he says here is something that we've been trying to talk about here on the channel. Let me read his quote here. The position of the U.S. dollar hasn't changed. Again, you have to remember a lot of these foreign governments, 187 or whatever the number is of the countries outside of the United States, rely on the U.S. dollar. They do not want their own currency. Dollars do get inflated, but that increased the purchasing power also actually drives the balance of power back to the United States, because all of these folks all of a sudden find the ability to import a little bit cheaper. Their economies get slightly better, but the U.S. dollar actually still does well. So there's a complex set of interactions that are all relative. Palihapitiya also says that he believes the U.S. government will likely not veer away from the path of long-term currency debasement. According to the billionaire, the best way to ride the trend of the long-term dollar debasement is to invest in risk assets such as stocks and crypto. However, you're going to want to make sure you miss that correction and then buy in after stocks are corrected probably 40% or more, if that should happen. Not financial advice, just my personal digital perspectives. But look, largely this speaks to something I've been talking about here on the channel and heavily talking about inside of the Digital Mastermind group, which you should join. Well, what I could tell you is that, I don't believe that we see a complete collapse of the dollar, because there are so many countries, to the point that Chamath is making here, that rely on the dollar still. Even the BRICS coalition, I certainly believe we're seeing a transformation, and we are beginning to shift from a unipolar back system, from a one global reserve currency to a multipolar back system. That's what I believe we're going to see over the next several years, is that transition to that. And if you go back and look at the history of global reserve currencies, you will see that that is not uncommon, but the standard. Now I want to play you, as we move to this multipolar system, we're seeing the introduction of CBDCs being rolled out across the world. And here is a little conversation on the digital pound, with the limit of 10,000 to 20,000 pounds is proposed here, as well as some other things that you need to hear as well. Take a listen.
So the first few features I'm going to talk about are interest and limits. So in our consultation paper, we lay out that a digital pound would not pay interest. It would be intended as a means of payment, not intended as a savings product, and it wouldn't be intended to enhance the Monetary Policy Committee's toolkit. This isn't seen as a motivation for its introduction. So therefore, we would not use remuneration in order to incentivize uptake. Secondly, there would be a limit on how much users would be able to hold. At least during a digital pound's introduction, a limit of between 10 to 20,000 is proposed. 20,000 pounds, is proposed. This would help to manage risks by constraining deposit outflows from the banking system during the introductory period. Thirdly, non-UK residents would be able to use digital pounds too, when visiting the UK, for example, as tourists, and when outside the UK for payments with either a UK
And there you hear that. So you hear some of the restrictions that are already put in place here for the digital pound, right? There will be limits on how much you could hold, but there will be the ability for people, even visiting as tourists are concerned, non-UK residents, to be able to use the digital pound as well. It will not pay interest, but you have to wonder too, what about the privacy? We didn't get to that part, right? Then this here from Cyprus to Monacore here, and I want you to listen to what he says, because listen, you know that I feel this way, and I know that he's articulating it well here and gives a great point. You're going to listen to them talk about the MiCA European laws and being processed over there and moving into law in the next year here to regulate cryptocurrencies and digital assets broadly. Now, this is, look, it's all important to listen to, because we're watching the debt, whether it's the U.S. or globally, right? It's getting to a place where everybody realizes they can't pay it back, right? Dollar de-dollarization, dollar debasement, all of these things are very real. CBDCs being rolled out. Is UST Tether really legit? Was it taken over and compromised and flipped by the Treasury or the Department of Justice years ago? Could have been. But even if it wasn't, we know that there is no real clarity from the U.S. government thus far, regardless of whatever situation it is, that makes me very uncomfortable about what could happen to the largest on and off ramp in the crypto space. Now listen to what's proposed here about a big purge coming with the onset of regulatory clarity. Take a listen here.
Remember that I told everybody to pay more attention to the MiCA deal that they put out in Europe? Again, that is not proposed to go into full effect until the end of 2024.
That's right.
I don't think a lot of people are ready for this purge that's about to take place. Last time we were at 23,700, and today we are currently at 24,135. This entire market infrastructure and the cryptocurrency ecosystem is going to be reshaped and reformed.
I think that is absolutely spot on. I have believed this for a long time, and I believe, as I have said, that USD Tether, whether it has been compromised or not, I believe that USD Tether can really make this market look transformed by pulling the rug on USD Tether. Even if it's only temporary before it's rolled inside a regulatory framework. Or if it's truly taken over and then controlled by the proper entities that should control it. Who knows? But if you were to pull Tether, that's 82 billion plus. I gave you the number this morning. And imagine if the assets that you hold out of the 24,000 plus that's shown here, the only way in or out of those is USD Tether. What are you going to do if the rug's pulled on USD Tether? What are you going to do if you've already taken a position to exit crypto and you're only sitting in USD Tether? I'm not saying these things are going to happen, but it certainly looks like a plausible exit to really purge this space and suck the life out of it like a vacuum, evaporating the majority of currencies that exist. And we got more information for you to look at too. Shout out to Cypress for that one. But as the Ripple chief legal officer says that common interest is not the same as common enterprise, we know we're waiting days away, weeks at most probably, for this decision in the SEC versus Ripple case. And imagine what a little bit of clarity would do. Because right now we see that NASDAQ is set to launch crypto custody services by end of June. We are just a month or so from this happening. And I want you to imagine now, interesting thought, says Anders, in accordance with the SEC versus Ripple case resolution, wouldn't it be perfect timing with NASDAQ custody crypto for a timely XRP listing? Yes, it would. And if we saw USD Tether get rug pulled in the regular crypto exchanges and markets, then wouldn't NASDAQ be the perfect place to list your token and have custody with it because they deal with the US dollar directly? Not financial advice. This is just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.